Hello and welcome to today's ChannelCast, 5 Steps to Cashing In on Converged Systems, which comes to you by way of the Channel Company and Dell. I'm Terry Sweeney and I'm delighted to be moderating today's ChannelCast. First, to ensure you get the most from today's events, we have a few announcements and suggestions. First, this ChannelCast will be interactive between you and the presenters. At any time, you're free to ask questions. Please submit your questions by typing them into the Ask a Question text area, then click the Submit button. If we don't get to your question during the live event, we'll get back to you via email. Later in the program, we'll also ask for your feedback. To facilitate this, we recommend that you disable your pop-up blockers now. Also, the presenters will advance the slides for you. You'll also be able to download a copy of the slides. You can find them in the Event Resources area of your console right below the media player. Finally, if you have any technical problems, please visit our ChannelCast Help Guide. Just click on the Help icon in the upper right of the console. Once again, I'm Terry Sweeney, and I'm today's ChannelCast editor and moderator. I'm happy to welcome Tejas Gohokar, Partner Product Marketing for Dell. If you want to learn more about Tejas or me, please click the Speaker's Bio tab next to the media player. Here's a bit of a preview of where we're going today. I'll start by talking about what we mean with converged infrastructure and hyperconvergence. We'll look at some projections and forecasts for revenue in this sector. I'll then discuss some of the market dynamics fostering uptake of converged architectures by end users, then a few comments about how resellers can play in the arena before turning over the program to Tejas. After his remarks, we'll address your questions, so please don't be shy about using that Ask a Question feature. So what are we talking about exactly when we talk about converged infrastructure? The term generally refers to some combination of server, storage, networking, virtualization, and sometimes other resources into a single integrated solution. This not only reduces the footprint, obviously, but it gives end user organizations a way to manage those resources as a whole rather than separate management consoles for each system. More on that in just a second. A subset of this, hyperconverged infrastructure, is the same basic idea that takes the compute, storage, networking, and consolidates them as a single software package running on an x86 server. This idea of designing and testing various combinations of technologies plays to a characteristic strength of resellers. But customers in highly regulated industries like healthcare or financial services also really like them because converged systems are easier to validate against HIPAA or PCI requirements, for example. Reducing the number of management interfaces has been an elusive IT goal pretty much for decades now. Converged infrastructure removes all the various silos and also simplifies the training aspect of IT staff who are tasked with handling systems management. This approach also simplifies things technically and organizationally when new capabilities like a security layer gets added or maybe the organization expands its operations into the cloud. No new boxes to install or maintain, no new management nomenclature to have to master. Converged infrastructure also has great potential for when customer warranties are expiring or gear has reached the end of its natural life cycle. Not every customer likes the idea of replacing all these systems at once, and many just don't have the budget for it. But with planning and a properly executed selling strategy, converged infrastructure is a great way to go for many customers. Finally, convergence may also require some rethinking of how customers procure equipment, software, and systems, and also how channel partners sell to them. Some organizations and some applications will always require those best-of-breed solutions, the fastest, the most comprehensive, the richest capability sets. But the performance management and budgetary gains from converged infrastructure often perform just as well as any best-of-breed solution. That quote-unquote good enough shift in mindset will likely start to win over those who thought they needed the fastest, newest thing. The momentum is pretty unmistakable here. The revenue coming from converged and hyper-converged infrastructure, the number of apps moving over to converged architectures. As resellers, you're going to be seeing more of this sort of thing and certainly selling it. Grandview Research's forecast, the second point from the bottom here, that this market will be worth $14 billion within 7 years. That's a pretty rich opportunity. What does this all mean for resellers? Well, as we've just seen, there's tremendous opportunity for channel partners to upgrade or replace systems and software over the next several years. But it's not hyperbole or an overreach to say that converged infrastructure hits resellers' sweet spot. This is exactly the sort of thing successful resellers have been doing for years now. Channel partners with any sort of integration expertise are already taking full advantage of the market opportunities here. Again, fair to say that converged and hyper-converged infrastructure are integration projects to the nth degree. Better yet, there's lots of evidence that supports the idea that equipment makers understand that the channel will be key in evangelizing convergence and bringing it to fruition. As suppliers work to increase the productivity of their own sales team, the channel's providing leverage and scale for these same suppliers. As a result, the channel's demanding choice and flexibility with things like hypervisors or server vendors, networking technology, the management software, the storage types, and suppliers are responding. As with any other large-scale project, converged infrastructure will require channel players to lean on their existing network of partners and to expand it. Because of the multiple systems and technologies that are being ganged together here, it's not always practical that a single entity is able to handle all the issues that are going to arise. So this is really a great place to work with other resellers with complementary skill sets. It's also not an overstatement to say that the breadth of convergence makes these kinds of installations absolutely strategic to customers. As smart resellers understand, strategic projects bind customer and reseller ever more closely. Properly executed, these kinds of deals position resellers really well for the long term. So that's a bit of context setting for converged infrastructure. Let's get more of Frontline's perspective from today's featured speaker, Tejas Gohokar, Partner Product Marketing for Dell. Welcome to our virtual podium, Tejas.
Hey, thank you very much, Terry. Good afternoon to all of you attending this webcast today. Thank you very much for your time. We are here to discuss how all of you can cash in on convergence, a concept explained extremely well over the past few minutes by Terry. And over the course of the next few minutes, we're going to understand how we can help you monetize this emerging trend in technology in the best possible way. So let's jump right into the business case for converged systems. Terry touched upon a few of these numbers. What I want to call out here is there's a 60% compounded annual growth rate for converged systems. Many members of this audience have been in the IT industry as respected resellers. There are very few markets in IT overall where you can expect a 60% compounded growth rate. So if that isn't a compelling factor for all of us to compete in this space, what is, really? The second point I want to call out is we're all seeing a data explosion. You have customers in small, medium business or large enterprises. CIOs are thinking about how their data is exploding to become twice of what it is every 2 years. That leads to an impact in terms of storage capacity shipments that I'm calling out. 1,500 petabytes in a single business quarter is what we're seeing, and it's only going up. So that's leading to an increase in demand for software-defined storage. More and more companies, almost 40% of the world's 2,000 largest companies are inviting top-tier IT vendors for proof of concept on software-defined storage. So 30% of enterprise storage in the near future is going to be software-defined. Again, we better ride this wave because converged systems are the way of the future. So this was just a way of revisiting some of the crucial numbers in the converged system space. Now let's jump into what's in it for practically every single one of you in the audience right now. In the systems integrator space, I want to call out the example of the Dell Hybrid Cloud solution for Microsoft. We have a trusted systems integrator called CGI that has been in business since the 70s that recommends Dell Hybrid Cloud solution for Microsoft to all their customers, be it across education, financial services, and even the federal government. And the reason they do that is obviously because it is a co-engineered, pre-tested, and validated solution from Microsoft. So it's Dell and Microsoft co-engineered, which gives it credibility. But also it allows CGI to make money by providing IT services, consulting services, migration, integration, and adding some of their value-added software depending on the customer use case. So leaving that hardware part on a validated solution and not worrying about it, they still have the ability to then focus on how can they monetize that particular opportunity at every customer through their portfolio. So that's something that systems integrators on this call can really pay attention to and hope to emulate. Now that particular solution is a high margin, slightly complex solution requiring a longer sales cycle. Many of you on this call might be interested in identifying a customer use case, pain point, and quickly turning around with a solution which helps you close the deal very quickly and make money. Well, I've called that out in the value-added reseller space. The particular example I'm mentioning is the Dell XC series appliance. It's basically a software-defined storage appliance powered by Nutanix. That brings your compute and storage resources on one chassis. So if that's something that your customers care about, they have a well-defined problem where they want to see increased throughput by as much as 10 to 11 times of what they're getting currently from their infrastructure right now, well, then this will help you quickly close the deal with them. And again, you can attach your own services as you close the deal on an XC series appliance. A case study I've called out here is the Williams Formula One team. For members in the audience who are passionate fans of Formula One, you obviously are aware of the team. It's been in existence since 1977 and has won numerous championships. They've partnered with Dell since 2005, so over a decade at this point, to help their IT strategy. And so recently, they handed us two projects. The first one I'll touch upon quickly was a migration to Office 365 from a previous IBM product. And Dell did a really good job helping them do that. And the second project was, how do we now migrate our bulky racetrack infrastructure to something more nimble and something that can help us be more high-powered in our performance. The XC series appliance really helped them get data on the track in seconds instead of minutes. And knowing how intense the racetrack atmosphere is, every minute counts. So this was considered a very successful project, helped them in logistical cost savings as well, because they were able to reduce the amount of physical infrastructure they're using. And at this particular case study, I would also like to call out that they signed up for Pro Support Plus, through which they got a dedicated technical account manager. So not only were they using world-class hardware powered by Dell and Nutanix, but also availing of the best services organization. They have a dedicated account manager who could get them parts, solve technical problems, offer any kind of help that was needed within a business day. So keep this in mind, please, as you're pitching Dell EMC solutions to your customers. Okay. The third category I'm calling out here is the technology partners. Many of you in the audience right now have in-house engineering teams with capabilities to identify how a particular solution works and how it could be made to work better by adding some elements from your own organization. So the case study I'm calling out here is the Mirantis OpenStack. So the OpenStack solution from Dell is obviously validated like all our other solutions, but Mirantis figured out a way to add software on it so that they could keep providing a single pane of glass to manage cloud computing platforms across hybrid, private, or public. So that's the value add that Mirantis added on top of the Dell solution. And to find more on this, you are welcome to visit the Technology Partner Program website. And we highly encourage you, should you have those engineering capabilities, to add those onto the validated solution that Dell EMC has to offer. Now, we've called this presentation 5 ways of cashing in on convergence. Honestly, choosing our consumption model is really the first way of learning how to cash in. The key takeaway of this particular slide is that Dell EMC is committed to meeting each one of you exactly where you are. You may be at a point where your customers are more interested in building up their own infrastructure by partnering with you. It's a buy versus build kind of argument. What are you more interested in? If you believe that you're comfortable building it, feel free to download reference architectures, which are already available through Dell resources. Right? So you can download, once you've identified a particular use case, the relevant reference architecture to see how a Dell EMC validated solution can solve the problem. Now, you can only ask for components and decide to build the solution yourself, and that's fine. But the reference architectures are already up there, publicly available for all of you to use. So please feel free to go ahead and download those. The second one I'm calling out is the nodes and bundles. We have pre-tested, pre-configured nodes to solve converged systems problems, primarily to increase throughput, to bring compute resources, storage, all on one chassis. So you can help customers scale up, scale out as per their needs in increments as small as one node. Unlike our competition, we are not locking in customers in a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. We believe that customers should be able to scale up or scale out in increments as small or as large as they need them to be. So the nodes and bundles, which we have pre-configured, can really help you close such deals with your customers. The third one in the consumption model is validated systems. That's what my team works on. And these are essentially pre-tested, and we run a number of workloads in our innovation laboratory based out of Austin, Texas, to make sure that when validated systems are shipped to customers, they're up and running in the customer scenario. So you can be very confident while pitching the entire portfolio of Dell EMC validated systems to your customers. Now, many of you might be interested in the validated systems, but you may still want to put them together yourself because there might be a cost consideration or some other consideration, in which case we are happy to have you order the standard issue components that go into the validated systems, and Dell EMC will actually ship you the deployment guide that helps you and empowers you to build the solution yourself at your end or the customer's end. So again, we're not locking you in. We're happy to ship you the deployment guide and let you do this yourself. The fourth consumption model is engineered systems, and we just like calling it hitting the easy button on a validated system. So that comes with more of an end-to-end lifecycle management, white glove treatment that Dell EMC can provide. And the last one is the hybrid cloud platforms that our portfolio contains. And that's for your future-looking customers who really want to migrate from their current state IT infrastructure to a future state hybrid cloud infrastructure. So depending on where you and your customers currently are, we have the capabilities to meet you exactly at that point. So that, to me, understanding this consumption model and how committed we are to meeting you where you are is the first step in cashing in on the convergence phenomenon. Steps 2 through 5 really are what I'm showing you right now. How do you drive in that maximum benefit using your partnership with Dell EMC? The first one on this slide is the system builder. Our team here is really excited in building this System Builder because it is Dell's first step towards the concept of intelligent automation. How do we really differentiate? And then how do we help you differentiate in a space where many Tier 1 vendors are selling converged systems? Now, System Builder is really special because it allows you to really interview your customers or sit with them in real time and build out a solution that is going to work best for their needs in their environment. Having done the demo myself, it can tend to be anywhere from a 9 to 11 step process whereby you are actually selecting the standard issue servers, the storage that you need, the memory, which switches, which management software, which cluster software are you going to use, and so on. So you really have the power, along with your customer, in real time to build a solution that works best for you. The exercise may take you as less as 10 minutes, but it really helps you drive customer satisfaction because the customer feels that he's in the driving seat, right? And the output of the System Builder is basically a document that gives you the architecture of what you've just designed. So you can use it for future discussions while deciding your roadmap and strategy with the customer. So it's a great win. I urge all of you on this call to try it out. It's already available for all of our flavors in the high-performance computing space. So be it in research, life sciences, or manufacturing, System Builder is up and running. And in some of our enterprise solutions, we have this available for Dell Validated System for virtualization, as well as the systems for SQL and Exchange. So be it the Microsoft Exchange, be it databases using SQL, you currently have the power to help your customer design and build the best solution for their environment. The second one here I'm calling out is the Active System Manager. We like to call it the single pane of glass for installing, deploying, managing complex IT infrastructure. Obviously, the key competitors in this space are the HPE OneView and the Cisco UCS offerings. We engaged with a third company provider, a neutral benchmark tester, if you will, called Principal Technologies. Many of you might be aware of that firm. And they actually tested Active System Manager against the competition that I just called out. And we were focused on three key areas, which is how quickly can you deploy the infrastructure, how quickly can you get value out of the infrastructure, how much of a cost saving can the infrastructure deliver in terms of licensing cost. So we found that you can have anywhere northwards of 82% time savings in terms of how quickly you can deploy IT infrastructure and get value. And when it comes to the licensing cost per node for Active System Manager, we found savings as high as 90% compared to that offered by the competition. So these are key elements that you can pitch on behalf of Dell EMC to tell the customer, look, this solution is very convenient, very easy to manage. It's very cheap because your licensing cost per node is going to go down drastically. And your downtime is going to be non-existent because way fewer steps, as much as 80% fewer steps are required to deploy your IT infrastructure compared to the competition. So that way, you help your own business grow and you help Dell EMC win. The third one I'm calling out here is the Dell EMC Financial Services. Many of you on this call might be aware that the legacy Dell Financial Services has all the powers and rights of a normal bank across North America and Europe. So if you have end customers in these geographic regions, Dell Financial Services, or Dell EMC Financial Services as we call them now, has the ability to underwrite loans, do credit checks on your customers, offer great leasing options, which basically means you as the partner are going to be able to close deals of a larger size because now you're taking the concern away from the customer that they have to pay for the technology up front. No, they don't have to. They can spread out the payments over the life of the technology, which works great for a CIO and it makes you look good. And for you also, setting up something through Dell Financial Services makes sure that you get paid in full and on time. So again, I see this as a win-win situation. You've heard 100 times probably by now that CIOs, other IT decision makers, are really concerned about moving from CapEx to OpEx. like I said, we've all heard it hundreds of times, but it really is that important. In today's world where there are budget constraints, you really want to go that extra mile and remove that constraint for your customer. And Dell EMC Financial Services can help you do that. The last one I'm calling out here is the Dell EMC Partner Direct Portal. I'm assuming many in this call are already Dell EMC partners. If you aren't, I highly encourage you to join our Partner Direct program. What is required is essentially a functional company website, a company email domain. Please go ahead and register. That shows your interest in selling Dell EMC solutions, and then you kind of upgrade to the higher levels of partnership between Dell EMC and your organization. Depending on how much revenue you're driving for Dell EMC, there are different categories. Partners who just register but are driving minimal revenue are called registered partners. But then as you move up, you get the status of a preferred partner, and then as you move further up, you become a premier partner. Obviously, there are revenue thresholds across the entire Dell portfolio. We want you to sell Dell Client, Dell Enterprise, software, and services as much as possible. And so we have different targets for the various lines of business. And at the same time, in terms of benefits, we offer you the same trainings that are available for Dell badge salespeople. So we encourage you to make full use of those so you are on the top of your game when you're pitching Dell EMC solutions in the market. So if you haven't registered on Dell Partner Direct, please do so as soon as possible. And just on a side note, by coincidence, a consequence of the Dell EMC World, which happened recently in Austin, Texas, was to work on this Partner Direct program. So starting the next financial year, it's only going to get better because it identifies the best elements of the Dell Legacy Partner Program and the EMC Legacy Partner Program. But because these enterprise giants are coming together, logically you can expect the revenue thresholds to go higher in order to become a premium partner, but also some of the training thresholds to go higher. We may require you to have more competencies through more number of people in your organization. But please stay tuned for formal announcements on that coming out in December. But for now, feel free to explore more in the Dell Partner Direct portal. I'm calling you out on calling out the resources as a last slide. I encourage you to visit the Dell Blueprints program, which really helps you understand different customer use case scenarios and how our different groups, such as high performance computing, virtualization, big data and analytics, SAP HANA, unified communications, can really help you solve the customer problem through the different usage models or the consumption models that we discussed earlier in this presentation. So please take a look at that. On the bottom left, I'm mentioning the hyper-converged positioning, which is the official Dell EMC brand positioning and portfolio for our customers that we want you to look at so that you can have that informed conversation with your customers. So please take a look at those resources. For those that are Dell partners on this call, these are already present on Dell Sales Edge, or as they call it now, Savo. So that's where you will find these resources. Please pay attention to the four gentlemen that I have called out on the screen, depending on which region your customers are in. These are the sales overlay team members that you need to leverage. So it's Connor for the Americas, Sergio for EMEA, and Arun for APJ. These folks will be more than happy to answer your questions on behalf of customers and work with you hand in hand to identify the best overall solution for your customers. Adnan Khalil is the Business Development Director for HPC worldwide. So for any high performance computing questions specifically, please feel free to reach out to him. Final call to action. Please feel free to reach out to your Dell EMC account executive with questions about this deck or any other questions you may have about the portfolio or how we can better support you, or even ask for resources that you've not been able to find. They will be more than happy to help you. Second one, as a partner, you already have access to online demos on Dell.com, which basically gives you the same capabilities as a live demo. which gives you then the confidence to pitch to your customers knowing what the outcome should be for that particular technology use case. But on top of that, we really encourage you to reach out to your account executive and help schedule a visit for your customer to your nearest Dell EMC Solution Center, because that's where customers really get to whiteboard their concerns. They get to see Dell EMC technology in action. They get to run proof of concept, proof of solution, which helps you close the deal, which helps you monetize the maximum possible amount. So if you haven't leveraged it, please do. The solution centers worldwide would be very happy to see you and your customers there. Finally, again, learn more at dell.com/blueprints, because that's where we store our maximum repository of information. That's about it from my side, and for any questions, please feel free to reach out to me even after the webinar. My email address would be shared. I work very closely with the Dell and technology partner engineering teams and would be pleased to get any questions answered for you. And with that, I hand it back to Terry.
That's great, Tejas. Thanks for a very thorough and provocative discussion. Lots of questions here. And with that, why don't we move right into the Q&A section of the program. Again, I'm going to invite members of the audience. If you have questions, just type them into the question text box located right under the media player and click send. As a reminder, if we don't get to your question during the session today, we'll be following up with you via email after the event. So let's get started here. Tejas, there's a question that's come in. As a reseller, where are my biggest opportunities to add value to the offering?
So as a reseller, we want you to have the peace of mind in terms of relying on the hardware that Dell EMC and its partners have to provide. So your value then comes in offering your IT services, any consulting services, any migration capabilities, and integration capabilities, right? So Dell EMC has its own portfolio of services. Yes, we realize that we often compete in that space, speaking candidly, but let me reiterate very emphatically that we are very happy for you to take on as much of that services piece of the pie as possible. So please feel free to add your value-added software on top of the stack. Help your customer as much as possible through your own offerings in services and software. Great.
Another question around the various levels. Are there different levels for value-added resellers, or are all resellers considered more or less the same?
Well, so even in the Dell legacy business, in the value-added reseller space, we've had the three categories for a while now within Partner Direct. So depending on the competencies you're trained in, and depending on the revenue you're generating across LOBs or lines of business, you could either be a registered, preferred, or premier partner, obviously an increasing order of importance. Going forward, after this Dell EMC merger which has taken place, the model will more or less remain the same. The terms may be slightly different. The requirements in terms of training and revenue thresholds will obviously be slightly stricter, but it's in the same spirit, right? So the more Dell EMC gear you sell, the more of a premium partner you become. Instead of calling you the premier right now, we'll probably call you Platinum or Platinum Black or something like that in the future. But like I said, the idea remains the same. Your effort should be to sell as broad a portfolio as possible and to have as highly trained a staff as possible. So that answers the question in terms of how we segregate our partners.
Great. Thanks for that. I was curious to see the consumption models that you lined up side by side. That was actually really helpful to see them, to be able to compare and contrast like that. Which consumption models tend to be the most widely used or deployed?
So again, there is no wide or most deployed. It all depends on the journey that the partner and the customer find themselves at. So each case is different, and if the partner says we want to build something ourselves, then you see those Harvey balls. All we want to do is be transparent in terms of what exactly you're signing up for. And there's a market out there that says just ship us these components, We know exactly which server storage switches are going in here. We know what software to use. And give us the deployment guide because we may need it, we may not need it. And we'll build it ourselves. Some others are saying, no, we just need the white glove treatment. We don't want to care about it at all. Just take care of the entire life cycle. So there's an equally big market for that as well. There's no one kind of market between the do-it-yourself versus the white glove that stands out. So it's more of to each his own.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for that. In that same vein, a question from our audience. If I want to do it myself, instead of buying the actual validated system, how do I do that?
Absolutely, and we see a lot of that happening, right? I mean, having a validated system is great because it comes certified by Dell EMC that no questions asked, this is going to work. You have our guarantee. But in the real world, in the field, when a channel partner actually gets everything deployed, there might be slight tweaks made to the solution, which is fine. They can build it themselves or tweak a validated solution, right? Dell actually, through Pro Support Plus, offers even a multi-vendor support option. So even if tweaks have been made, if the channel partner has been able to convince the end customer to sign up for Dell Pro Support Plus, we will fully support that solution, even if it means it's multi-vendor at that time, right? So that's more of what happens when the solution has been deployed. But even before that, we let the partner have complete freedom. If you know, because you have the capabilities, and because that's your idea of monetization, that you want to build something up yourself, please go for it. We will support you through reference architectures, deployment guides, and your Dell badged account executive will be on standby to help answer your questions.
That's great. Thanks for that. Another question that we wanted to get to, is System Builder available on everything in the portfolio?
So not everything yet, but a large part of the portfolio has System Builder on it. We're working towards getting the entire portfolio with System Builder on it. But as we speak, we have it on the entire high-performance computing portfolio. So whether you're buying as far as a research solution is concerned, or life sciences, or manufacturing, yes, we have it on there. And on the enterprise side, if you're looking at getting your customers to buy Dell EMC validated system for virtualization, we have it on there. Or if you want to help them manage SQL better for databases, then yes, we have System Builder that can help you build a solution. Or for Microsoft Exchange customers, we have a System Builder. So I just counted off 6 distinct use cases where they can avail of System Builder. And I think this is a big chunk of the market. So it's a great starting point for our partners to start investigating System Builder. But the hope is everything under the Dell EMC umbrella would be covered in the near future. We're working on it.
That's great. Another question. What kind of testing does Dell EMC do?
So anything that qualifies as a validated system is already tested, right? So that word is kind of an inference from the word testing. To begin with, when the solution is built, whoever we are partnering with is already a respected technology company. So we don't work separately in silos. We actually co-engineer every single validated system in our portfolio. So to come back to that example I used, if I'm talking about Dell Hybrid Cloud Solution for Microsoft, from day one we had Dell Product Group engineers and Microsoft engineers work together to build it based on a customer use case or a pain point that both companies identified together, right? So to begin with, the solution was co-engineered by these 2 large tech companies. And then we take the racked solution into our innovation lab, and we run actual workloads, extensive workloads on that solution to make sure that it covers all the use cases that the customers would care about in their environment. So it's only after all of those use cases are successfully solved for that we then market the solution as a validated system. So that's the extent of co-engineering and testing that is done on everything in the portfolio.
That's great. Tejas, this has been a really great, thorough discussion. We're going to conclude the Q&A now, and in just a minute, we will take you to the Dell website for more tools and information. This is a good place to note that this ChannelCast and its content are copyrighted 2016 by the Channel Company LLC or its affiliates, all rights reserved. All trademarks are the property of their respective owners. Any rebroadcast or redistribution of this ChannelCast or any portion thereof without the prior written consent of the Channel Company LLC is prohibited. I personally want to thank you all for attending today's ChannelCast, brought to you by the Channel Company and Dell. Also, on behalf of our guest, Tejas Gohokar, and our virtual production team, thanks for your time. Have an excellent day.